Thank you, Brandon. So we will get started. Hello, everybody. I'm Rob from Intel, Rob Tackett, and I have a wonderful panel here today for us. We're actually going to be talking about the role of emerging technologies in reshaping vocational and STEM education. So I think a good place to start, we can introduce ourselves maybe through the lens of how we intersect with emerging technologies in education. So I'll start with the wonderful person to the left of me, who is Gitani Maid.
Thank you. Bye. I should have sat here because I have to go first now. Emerging technologies, how do we engage with one of the things, let me introduce myself, Gitani Mair. I work for Western Sydney University as the Director of Vocational Education and Training. So what we do is we actually provide business-to-business skills solution. So we don't go directly to consumers, students. We actually, at the University College, we actually provide skills-based solutions for Western Sydney businesses and beyond. So how do we engage with emerging technologies? We actually look at number one, does it add value pedagogically? Number two, is it being used in the industry or is it going to support the industry skill development? So that's our basis for engaging with that. I think I'll stop there and elaborate on that later.
Fabulous. Thank you, Gitani. Sue Murphy from HP, please tell us, how do you intersect with emerging technologies in education?
So, in the form of introducing myself, so my name's Sue Murphy and I work for HP. And at HP, we are seen as emerging technology. We create technology and technology for learning. So my background is I actually manage the Department of Education for New South Wales across the 2,300 schools and also across corporate offices. So all the devices that currently sit within New South Wales public education fall under me and my team, pre-sales, during sales, and post-sales for warranty. So technology is obviously our lifeline, and this specifically around education. I've been managing the department for about 8 years now, and work closely with Rob as well and Brett Zalakis, which you're familiar with. We care about how technology can be used for the good, greater good, for technology, for teaching, and our students who are coming through. So my personal background, I've got 4 children. I've got 2 of them who are working in a working adult, but 2 children in primary school, in very different stages of life for them and how they deal with technology, and it's very, very different. And I may have the opportunity to talk to that a bit later on, how we can use it for better or for worse. But in a nutshell, that's it.
Thank you, Sue. And so from Boston University, we have here Dr. Mahendra Samara-Wibrama, and I'll ask you the same question. How does your work intersect with emerging technologies in education?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm a lecturer in Sydney branch in Boston. At the same time, I'm working with IEEE and OECD for developing AI policies and frameworks. I a little bit explain about IEEE is an Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, and OECD is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. There are a few of the peak bodies which develop AI ethics, governance and policy framework, and I am actively working with the development of standards and framework, and a couple of them what I am working relates to child safety in AI. At the same time, I'm one of the governors in WWF Australia working on sustainability, and I'm working some of the adaptation of AI ethics towards sustainability with WWF Australia. and also I'm working with the Ministry of Industry, Science and Resources in line with the critical technology standards, and AI is one of the dimensions of that critical technology standards. So some of these frameworks I'm working on relates to the education and in particular the child safety in related to responsible AI. Thank you.
Fabulous, thank you. Thank you. And we also have Anthony England here today. Please introduce yourself. Tell us how you're going to say you.
Hi, Anthony England from Pibble. I'll sound smarter than I am by leaning on wisdom of two other quotes. One is the best way to predict the future is to invent it, and I'm leaning into that. And the other one is that the more things change, the more things stay the same. And so deeply interested in those things that have always been consistent. So ethics, relationship, critical thinking, they don't change. So the more things change, I think I would lean more into those sorts of never-changing things.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting segue. So thanks for putting that out there because I like to start with why. If you were at my previous panel, you know that I'm a bit of a fan of Simon Sinek and the Golden Circle. So as far as the why, in education, why are we interested in emerging technologies and not just the technologies of the olden days? Why is it important that we're really cutting edge? I'll pass. Yeah, great. I'll pass to you. Thank you.
As I said, I actually worked with a lot of employers when I was working for Digital Skills Organization, now Future Skills Organization. One of the things that the employers used to tell us was the students who are graduating now are trained for the skills that we needed 4 years ago, not for the skills that we need now or in the future. Which is why we're just looking at training for where they need to be rather than training for today. Hence, we would look at emerging technologies or emerging methodologies, emerging frameworks, and all that, just to make sure that we are delivering to what the industry needs as well.
What I wanted to add to that is, as part of one of Department of Education's initiatives, they do something called a Game Changer Challenge, which HP has been proud to be part of. And what that sort of instills in students from groups of students from schools is to have a futuristic thought process of ideas. What could, come up with the most sort of outrageous ideas that we could actually think what our future is going to look like. And some of the ideas that come up through this Game Changing Challenge is amazing. It's think outside the box, and how can they? Just because you can't do it now doesn't mean it's not going to be possible tomorrow or next year or 5 years' time. I mean, no one would have thought that we're going to be flying up to the, into space and having satellites go up there several times a day and so on. So I think it's giving students that aspiration to go, nothing is impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's mindset. It's about not focusing on the tool, but the application of that tool when they go to workplace or when they go to research or whatever. So I agree it's a mindset thing rather than a thing with the emerging technology itself. I think it is about the tool, but I was a head teacher of information technology at TAFE New South Wales. And if you try to be the teacher who knows the tool, you're going to fail every time because there'll be one kid there who knows about the tool a lot more. So my focus was about, yes, it's the tool. You don't go to a classroom if you don't know the tool and if that tool is at the center of your teaching. But what you're focusing on is that not the features of the tool, but the application of the tool for the problem that you're trying to solve for the students. So yes, it's about the tool, but it's about the mindset and the end game of that tool.
Yeah, fabulous. I'm looking at Anthony, and I read your blurb, Anthony. You said that you speak and then you think. So I don't want to give you too much time to think. What are your thoughts on that?
Focus going to go back to your earlier question. We lean into technology because it's so scary that if we don't have good people thinking about how to use it well, we're in real trouble. And so we're in a jagged frontier, that AI thing. And so we need more people who have good intent thinking deeply about it. And so as educators, that's our responsibility to gift to the future great people who can steer the use of very powerful technology for good. So we can't abdicate our responsibility of growing the future. And that's why you lean into tech, because if you don't, you're passively on a roller coaster ride where you can't sway how powerful tech will be implemented. So that's why we take it very seriously to craft great ethical uses of powerful tech.
Where do emerging technologies fit in our education, and what's happening with AI? So I'm interested in your thoughts around some of this.
Yeah, so when we mean emerging technologies, AI is work like a cornerstone. There are other technologies like VR, AR, IoT, sensor technologies. And even now these days we are talking about quantum computing, cybersecurity. So there are a lot of emerging technologies. These technologies have different purposes. For example, we might think it as a collaborative tool. So students get the opportunity to collaborate with distance learning. It enables accessing technology in a rural area that it create through globalization. At the same time, these technologies enable personalization and adaptive learning. There are students who might have different capabilities, need different personalized training. So these tools enable like quality education through sustainability and democratize this into wide audience. There are the other areas might be inclusivity, which is the same thing that it enable bringing diversity to inclusion into the technology and the education. So technologies has a it's always defined as a double-edged sword, which has risk and benefit. So Australia at the moment with this fast AI transformation, the policies are not up to standard, and we are not yet done full impact assessment of these tools. So because of that, some leaders has certain risk appetite, some has higher risk appetite, some has lower risk appetite. Depending on their leadership style, risk appetite, they might looking into AI in a different angle. But it's always better having precaution when it comes to kids, because they might have psychological impact, kind of different impacts compared to adults. So that's we need to aware, and we need to make sure we adapt relevant frameworks, policies, and do the risk management properly when these tools are adapted to school.
Your role must involve a whole lot of deciding and helping the school decide what do we use, what don't we use, when, how. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, it's a tough title, by the way, so well done. It's not easy to say. So I'll give you a 4-letter acronym that has 5 letters, which is a good thing to have. So 4S, when I'm thinking about new tech, the first one is it safe? And the government policy on AI and education, is it safe, is it safe, is it safe, is it safe? Are assessments safe, etc. So tech has to be safe. Then the next one is it's seamless, because if it's not seamless, it's not going to be used. So no matter how good it is, if it's hard to use, you're asking for failure. So safe, seamless, supportive. So rather than me wanting to do something amazing with innovation, I need to make sure I'm supporting what the user wants to do, not what I think they should do. So safe, seamless, supportive, and only then can I actually ask them to do something better, something superior? So if I want to be this innovative person, I need to make sure I've got those first three pillars before I can make it superior. And the fifth one is sustainable. There's no use of being safe through to superior if you can't sustain it either environmentally, financially, or time. If it's not going to be sustainable, then why bother? So there's a 4S acronym for what I think about when I'm thinking about new tech.
I can little bit adapt little bit from ethical angles. So one thing we can look into is the purpose. So that AI should not replace human, and that means we need to think of human augmentation when adapting AI. So that's one of widely discussed topic these days, because there is a risk of human replacement through AI. And also the other angle is having a good policy. So when schools adapting AI, it's always better having a good policy, and leaders need to look into develop their AI policy for understanding who owns the AI product and who will get the accountability, because AI should not have full autonomy, and there is always important human in the loop approach when adapting AI. So now there are now schools can looking into productivity side. Safety is very important, and sustainability as mentioned. So, and also we need to looking into ethics, and sometimes if school don't have these policies and frameworks ready, there are voluntary frameworks available at the moment. People can adopt those voluntary frameworks until the regulatory frameworks emerge.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I was just thinking about an example of emerging technologies. This was some time ago. I was head of Skills Point for TAFE New South Wales, Technology Skills Point. I had a group of people who just loved technology and very excited about it. So we decided, we're actually head of the Skills Point was technology and business services, so work health and safety qualifications were under us as well. And when you talked about the 4 S's, I just thought about this. We actually use HoloLens to teach work health and safety. Microsoft, VR headset, very expensive. And you needed to learn about, at the time, not now, you needed to learn about using the VR headset more than before you can learn health and safety. So the pedagogical value of this particular activity for the cost of creating this activity was really low, because we had a lot of effort to get the benefit of this wonderful technology being deployed. Now, TAFE New South Wales had 130 colleges, and we actually developed courses for all 130. And as soon as it was, the test case was done, it wasn't scalable. Teachers who are teaching work health and safety now had to learn how to use HoloLens before they can teach work health and safety. So that sort of simplicity, the scalability, the technology is wonderful. It's developed quite a lot now, but at the time, it was the wrong solution for the problem we had. So I thought that's a really good example of, really looking at the application, the pedagogical value, what it's used for. If it's used in the industry, then it's a different story. It's lots of things. So I really love that for as a test for that.
So yeah, sometimes these technologies are going to work out well in education, and sometimes not. Now, I'll move to you, Sue, and say, you work for a great big technology company, as do I. Big technology companies trying to sell into education. I'm sorry, but that's part of what we have to do, and we love doing it. But do we have some kind of responsibilities, these companies, ethically or otherwise, when it comes to selling to education?
Look, there's 2 points to that I want to touch. I think from a vendor perspective, hardware vendor perspective, yes, we're here to make money. We're a business. We're here to make money. We want to sell more hardware or services, whatever we are selling. But I think from everyone's different. I think dealing with education for so many years, my approach is it fit for purpose? And we talk about AI, and my daughter graduated from Pymble Ladies College, and I've had challenges with her with regards to technology and the use of social media at times. She's come through good. You know, she's 25 now, and she knew the right way to use technology and what not to do. I've got a 10-year-old and an 11-year-old now, worlds apart, where it's a monkey see, monkey do approach. And they see someone else, you know, their friends adopting or doing a phone or apps, TikTok and so on. They think it's okay to do that. But it all starts at home as well as at school. And, you know, I appreciate the fact that when schools do have those policies in place, it needs to also complement that it comes from at home as well. And I'm quite fortunate that my husband and I are both in technology and we know how to monitor the usage. But from a sustainability and ethical perspective, look, HP is, you know, from a sustainability perspective, ethical perspective, security perspective, we aim, not only as an aspiration, but, you know, we have checks and balances in place where we sign up to, student security, sustainability around our products. So do we use recyclable materials in our devices? Absolutely. In 2019, we were 46%, zero emissions. By 2040, we aim to be zero emissions. So these are the checks and balances that we put in place because, you know what, these are going to affect our children and our future grandchildren. And what we do today is going to take effect, you know, moving forward.
Yeah, fabulous. Do we have any tech adoptions that failed? I always think of fail as first attempting learning.
Can I grab that one and lean on your response too? Social media, kids, there's a tech adoption that's a big fail. An example of something that we did in response to that mega big fail that I would love to see every kid's school adopt as a plug is we rolled out what we're calling Wiser phones, where like your iPads at school, we manage a phone. We've given this kid, when they first get a phone, the camera doesn't work, all they can do is text a single person, call, or share location, full stop. Never a browser, never social media, and as they get older and show the maturity, we'll release more and more features. So they'll get music when they put people before playlists. Eventually they'll have a friendship ability to have group chat, but that's only when they're like 14 or something. And so social media, big fail, but there's a tech answer to a tech problem. And I would love to see more schools take on a voice for parents to move that out of the family FOMO fight to be, this is just the way we do phones, kids, and have a whole community that have a phone that is age appropriate. So there's a big fat tech failure that as a country, we're putting our hand up to say no. But I just don't think we've quite got, as a large country, the right way. But I think we do. So come and talk to me about how we can do phones better.
How can we do phones better?
Come and talk. It's, if you go to wisephone.com.au and see what we're doing. We gave about 800 of these things out to girls. We're an all-girls school. And Santa beats you to the punch. 10-year-olds get their phones because the parent has this old phone that's getting refreshed. So they give this gambling porn machine to the kid to go into their bedroom and use as though they're safe. That's not okay. And so we've got to beat that and give them a phone that's safer in design before it becomes just their TikTok scroller universe. And it's not just about being safe, it's about distraction and focus and how they're spending their time. Like go and get a scuffed knee and have a fight with a friend and sort it out, rather than just sinking into a life that disappears in a scroll. So we can do better. The tech could do better, but it takes a courageous decision. I talk to a lot of schools, if you imagine, I'll go a little bit. Talk to a lot of schools, they go, oh yeah, that's interesting. We'll wait and watch, because it's a courageous decision to say, we're doing phones different. But if you want to, come and talk to me. And I've got a good story to share.
I think that it's pretty interesting, Dane, for the war machines. I posit if you had one of these machines, maybe a couple of centuries ago, you could probably rule the country or the world. They are oracles. They have all the information in them of the world. They're quite incredible. But with that incredible power comes incredible responsibility, Spider-Man. And something that we failed to do, I think, if you're a TAS teacher, you know straight away. Let's say you were teaching in a kitchen, you gave all your students knives. Before you do that, you teach them knife safety, and you teach them how to use them well. If we gave all of our students swords the moment they start kindergarten, probably not a great idea, but if you did, then the first thing you would teach, and you would teach it throughout schooling, safety with swords. How do we use them well? How do we use them to protect our community and all those kind of things? What do we not do? But I feel like we failed to do that with so many of these emerging technologies. Are we doing any better this time around? I wonder.
I'll tell a story about field technology. Exactly for that reason. So again, I worked for Tech New South Wales for 25 years, so lots of stories from Tech New South Wales. I used to be a mentor for new teachers. And they were, at 1 year, we decided that all new teacher training, the orientation is going to be using Adobe Connect. That's like Zoom or Teams at the time. So it's not the tool that failed, because a lot of these teachers were actually going to be working for what we call OTAN, TAFE Digital. They were going to be people who are going to deliver digitally or distance education providers who hated that program, absolutely hated that Adobe Connect, and the requested evaluation was, why don't we have this training face to face, because we can get so much done face to face. And that was because we were, the facilitators were teaching this class using technology, but using the rules of face to face teaching. So, the pedagogy and the facilitator instructional methods has to change with the technology, and we found that when we evaluated, we hadn't done that. So it's not the tool that failed, it's the way we delivered that failed, didn't really get the outcome. So that's why if we're using a technology, emerging or not, those rules, the changes, how to embrace that technology with the rules for that particular audience is what we need to think, rather than just trying to adapt a technology to what we are doing and somehow fit that in.
Yeah, so the main reason technology failed is some of the issues related to the process. Now, when we developing standards, what we use, most of the time what we say is like adopt the right value framework. So Australia has AI ethics principles. I think any organization first like try to adopt these AI ethics principles when they try to adopt organizational level AI deployment. So then what organizations try to do is like do an impact assessment against those AI principles related to their function, business function, and they need to come up with a strategy. So it's that most of the time people rush to adopt AI, and they have not a strong AI strategy. If the AI strategy is in place and then the policies are properly implemented, then there is a high chance most of those issues can be rectified. These failures sometimes coming from biases. In early days, most of the data projects failed because of biases. It's one of the reasons is that human doesn't adopt right value propositions into their business, and they are not properly adopt right framework. I think for schools, the principals and leaders, if they want to looking into new technologies, new products, services, and deploying AI. I think if they want to make high success rate, then they should go into the strategy, policy, and then looking into the purpose and 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 follow a good framework.
Yeah, great approach, great approach. So I'm told we're very close to time. So, final question, in one or two sentences, how can we or how might we actually get the most out of emerging technologies in reshaping vocational and STEM education?
I would actually leverage from what the industry is doing. I work with AWS academies, Cisco academies. I'm sure HP might have some like that. They have done the work on emerging technologies for us. They've used the AIs. They've got programs like Skill Builder. They've got sandboxes where you play virtual games and all sorts of things built into them. So I'd actually leverage from what the industry is doing. If you want industry-based training, emerging technologies, these sort of industries, they've got free resources that's available. I'll leverage from that as an educator.
Adopted that sustainability framework in their education. The fourth sustainable development goal, in fact, quality education, and it addresses the purpose and also diversity and inclusion and some of the like problems like areas like climate change, climate action, and good cause of implementing data problems and finding solutions. I think overall success means the sustainability and if we address sustainable adaptation of AI, and I think it will establish long-term success on AI product and services.
Here's room full of people thinking about STEM, and here it is. Ready? 3 words. Don't wow, solve. That's it.
Yeah, and could you give us a wow nonetheless for our 4 wonderful panelists today?